Welcome to the Yo-11 podcast, mostly Vegas, no BS casino experience, and more. Michael Trager is casino and travel loyalty expert who also helps people turn their travel dreams into reality. And now your host, Michael Trager. How's it going, Michael?
It's going great. I'm doing really, really well. Just back from Mexico City. Was a fabulous trip. We will eventually talk about that. We're sort of catching up on the month right now, I think, kind of.
All right. Mexico City, looking forward to that. I know you had some good times there, and I saw some awesome pictures and videos. But yeah, absolutely, we'll be discussing that in the future. So you had a Vegas trip. I saw you a lot. We went to various places and did various things. It was good stuff. But we're going to talk about that later as well. So you settling in from your Vegas and your Mexico trip?
Yeah, and I'm already planning my next Vegas trip, which will not be until probably May, but that's okay. I have a lot of other trips planned. I'm planning to spend some time in Key Largo. I haven't gone to anything with a key in it yet since I have moved to the great state of Florida. Mm-hmm. And then I have a conference in San Antonio in March. Also going to Madrid for a long weekend in March. And actually, you just dropped a Travel Zork article about the hotel that I believe I'm going to be staying at in Madrid on the travelzork.com website. Am I correct about that? I think you did, right?
Yes, Palacio de los Duques.
Yes.
That's really hard to pronounce one for me. Yes.
Yeah, but you're doing well with that. And then April is mostly a lot of family time. And then I am planning to go to Vegas again in May, hopefully seeing Movestro. We'll do some cool stuff because this trip was really great. And we're going to put together a vlog of this trip. And this trip, I actually kept real granular track of all of my gambling. So this will be great. Just total track of everything that I was doing. And it's really, 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 really cool to sort of like break down an entire trip. Of course, Movestro made me play this crazy Kong slot twice, which I'm still having nightmares over.
That thing
Primal bonus.
Yeah, that thing was scary, man. It was an experience for sure.
It really was an experience, and we actually have dropped some of those videos on YouTube. And Movestro taught me about discipline and slot machines.
Yes.
That was very so. And actually, some people have commented on that discipline because you will get to see all of my sessions on that kind of stuff. So that's really good. And then in June, I'm planning to go to Greece for over 2 weeks, close to 3 weeks. Did you know that?
I did not. That sounds awesome. Are you going to the Parthenon?
Yeah, probably. We're going to start in Athens.
Cool. All right. Looking forward to that.
So that's sort of the month. So I wish I had more time to do more Vegas trips, but life, there's work and life and other things that you're supposed to do. But that was one of the reasons, actually, I jumped into this Vegas trip for here because I really didn't think I'd be able to get to Vegas until May. And then I knew I was going to be able to get there in June, which I love to go in June, especially on my birthday. And I'm sort of bummed that I'm missing the 360 Vegas vacation at the end of June, because usually that sort of coincides with my birthday. But that was cool. And this was really it was a magical Vegas trip that just sort of grew organically. And we'll talk about that a little bit later.
All right. Before we do that, let's get on with the news and views. Netflix and MGM Resorts announced Netflix Bites, a new restaurant themed around the streamer's hit shows, will open at MGM Grand on Thursday, February 20th. The restaurant will serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner with each dish and drink a flavorful play on Netflix series like Stranger Things, Squid Game, Love is Blind, and Bridgerton. There will also be culinary creations inspired by Chef's Table and Dinner Time Live with David Chang. Menu items include 11's Feast, crispy chicken and waffle sliders served both Hawkins style and upside down, Bridgerton Regency tea, 3-tiered tea service with finger sandwiches, scones, and pastries, La Casa del Sangria, Spanish-style cocktail with gold-dusted mint leaves served in a Money Heist-inspired lockbox. Too Hot to Handle-inspired Bloody Mary, a cocktail so spicy it comes with its own pot holder. The restaurant will be located on the casino floor and opens February 20th at MGM Grand. That's it for the news, and now for the views. Michael, what are your thoughts?
I think this is actually a really cool idea. The only thing that I will add to this is that I haven't watched any of those series that are mentioned in this. But I think I know I'm looking, I'm like, okay, I do want to see Squid Games, but I think it's going to scare me, so I don't want to. And I haven't seen Love is Blind. I've heard great things about that. Bridgerton, I've heard great things about. Stranger Things, I don't know anything about it. I'm sorry. I suck with TV, don't I?
No, you just don't seem to make use of your Netflix subscription as much, as basically. No, it's just how it is. I mean, I get drawn to like documentaries about things that happened back in the day. Like I just saw the Casey Anthony documentary. Like I tend to watch documentaries more than I watch series, but that's always been me. I am curious about the Squid Game. Like, are they going to have some sort of a dish with squid? Like, what are they going to do with that? Now, the Bridgerton like high tea seems interesting, only because I've never done a high tea thing before, like a big deal about tea.
Do you want to do that? You want to do that sometime in Vegas? You want to do afternoon tea in Vegas?
Sure.
I think I think they do a really good one. I was going to say, oh my God, I was about to say, I think they do a really good afternoon tea at the Mandarin Oriental, which hasn't been called the Mandarin Oriental for quite a while. The Waldorf.
Waldorf, yeah.
Waldorf. But you know what? We could put that on our list of things to say. I'm not a huge fan of afternoon tea, but it's enjoyable. I do like small foods, so that is cool. I love this idea of the Too Hot to Handle inspired Bloody Mary, a cocktail so spicy it comes with its own pot holder. It's interesting. And I know so little. Isn't there a slot machine now? Isn't there a Squid Game slot machine? Yes, there was, because Danny was playing it on his slot channel.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, there is. Danny has a slot channel. What is it called? Not another slot channel or something like that. But he was playing that. But I actually think originally when I saw that you were doing this for the news, I was sort of skeptical about like, what the hell is this Netflix Bites? But I'm actually thinking that this is actually pretty cool, this idea. So I really like that. You know, I guess are they going to be playing like parts of the shows in the background?
I'm guessing they're going to have some sort of like memorabilia, maybe random clips of different shows going on in the background. Probably that would make sense. I think that sounds about right.
Remember the Italian restaurant with the guy Motronamos? I just pronounced it wrong. It was at the Rio first. There's this guy that looks like a bodybuilder who is like an Italian chef, and they also opened one at Paris, and he used to play like movies in the background, like they had Full Metal Jacket on in the background, like at blasting speed, like they had music and movies in the background. Do you remember? Do you know what I'm talking about? You know the restaurant I'm talking about?
No, but it does remind me of the Bourbon Room that used to be at Venetian before it became the Dorsey, before it became the thing it is now, which I forget what it is. But I remember that it was an 80s themed kind of a bar, and they had 80s music playing, but they also had 80s movies playing on the wall, like different scenes and segments. And so it's probably around the same thing. It's probably
his name was Martirano. That's it. Martirano.
Okay.
It was Martirano. It was at Rio, Las Vegas, Martirano. And it was really a scene. Cafe Martirano is an Italian restaurant located inside the Rio Hotel and Casino. I don't think it's there anymore. The restaurant serves homemade food inspired by, South Philadelphia and Fort Lauderdale. This dude was from Philly. It was like Philly and Fort Lauderdale. I forgot what his name is, but Steve Martorano. I'm looking here. Steve Martorano shutters his restaurant at the Rio. That was in November of 2015. But there were always like all this music and movies in the background and all this stuff going on, and it was sort of like movies that he liked, like kind of his genre kind of thing, which probably didn't fit with fine dining. And then they're showing it originally opened at Rio in 2007, and it relocated to Paris in October of 2014. And that's it. And I think it's actually where Martha Stewart is now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting.
Anyway,
Interesting.
yeah, I don't. You know, you always have your Vegas things. I used to go to the Rio. I used to like the Rio a lot, and it was sort of a cool concept, sort of towards the late generation of Rio. And talking about Rio, there is a really, really cool wine cellar, which the Rio was known for, which I've always wanted to go to. We should put that on the list. It's an iconic, like, kind of wine cellar place where they do tastings. And Mark Meltzer recently actually shared going to the wine cellar for a whiskey tasting. And he's actually going to do an article for travelzork.com about the wine cellar, because I said to him, oh my God, that brings back such good memories. Because remember, Rio was quite the posh property when it first opened. It was really, really posh, actually.
Interesting. All right. Well, we're looking forward to Netflix Bites. And now today we also have a podcast ponder.
Okay, today's podcast ponder is MrBeast teaming up for a special MrBeast package at Resorts World Las Vegas. And I will let Movestro sort of read what it says on there, because that's all there isn't much. They just dropped a tweet today about MrBeast and Resorts World Las Vegas. As far as I know, there is no landing page up, there's no pricing up, there's no more information other than the dates, and it's going to include a hotel package. Did you get anything else out of that? But I don't follow MrBeast closely, but I know MrBeast and MrBeast's antics. Would they be called Beast Antics?
I call them Beast Antics. It sounds about right.
Yeah, exactly. So this seems like a weird partner for Resorts World Las Vegas, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and the tweet says, introducing the MrBeast experience at Resorts World. We've partnered with MrBeast to create the ultimate Vegas vacation package, which is a 3-night stay from April 13th through the 15th with MrBeast experiences, a MrBeast mystery bag, and one lucky guest will walk away with a $10,000 cash voucher. April 13th to the 15th at Resorts World, but no link about exactly how to sign up about that yet. I'm curious what the MrBeast experiences will be. Like, you know, he does some weird
pranks. He does a lot of pranks, doesn't he?
Pranks and things. It's like, are you going to have to like compete for your own desert island? Because he's done that. He has hundreds of people compete for things. Usually it's a duration challenge. The last one standing is the one that wins. Eliminate. He does all sorts of things, all sorts of stuff. So I'm just curious what this MrBeast experiences would be for 3 days at Resorts World. I'm eagerly awaiting more information on this. That's for sure. Because
one of the other things that's weird too is if you follow Vegas Policy, he drops lots of information about how much money casinos make on a given day. And the amount of money that Resorts World and Fontainebleau bring in is a mere pittance in comparison to the amount that Wynn Las Vegas, Wynn Encore bring in a day in gaming. And what's funny is that this is totally not aimed at gaming at all. It's aimed at, celebrity kind of people. But the first thing that hits me here is like, so you're going to just give people a $10,000 voucher? Why not fucking give them a $10,000 in free play and let them play in the casino? Right?
Yeah.
Like why would you give somebody Imagine somebody coming and saying, "Hey, here's your $10,000 prize," and if they're not gamblers, they're not enticed. They're like, "Thanks, I'll go home with my $10,000." Like, why not be like, "You'll get $10,000 in free play at Resorts World," or why not be like, "Hey, and another 5 people will get $1,000 in free play at Resorts World." It just seems like it's like the anti-casino promotion. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will be different.
What can that voucher? It doesn't specify what the voucher can be used for, so we don't know if there's flexibilities.
Maybe it is free play. Maybe I'm wrong.
So maybe you
totally
can
wrong.
choose free play from it or dining. I mean, for me, that's $10,000 worth of nori bars. So I mean, I'm good. I'm good for life.
Oh, we need to do something on nori bar, because honestly, you rave about nori bar all the time. But Nobu is pretty good comparatively in comparison to to nori bar, right? Like Nobu sushi.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had a hand roll from Nobu though, so I don't know about that. But I know that the sushi itself is very fresh and very delicious. So yeah, it's comparative, definitely.
Okay, so it's interesting. We need to do this nori bar. So for those who don't know,
salmon hand rolls at nori bar.
Yes,
the rice is warm, man. It's warm.
In the food market, right?
Yeah, it's in the they call it the famous foods court, or whatever they call it. There's that sort of a food court or a food hall, or whatever they call it, but it's famous foods, and that's where basically their food court is. But it's not Sparrow Pizza or anything dumb like that. Like, it's things you're not going to find at any random place, and it's different things from it's Texas barbecue to Asian inspired to Greece. Like, there's so many different flavors of different countries and continents there. It's really, really fantastic.
And another thing to add, that famous foods, you can order all of that food as, quote, in-room dining for the Hilton or Conrad or Crockford's, as one of those like Caesar's Eats kind of things, except it's Resorts World Eats, where they deliver it to you in a bag and everything. So you have an option to order from all of those famous eats places, to the best of my knowledge. I've tried it once about 2 years ago when staying at the Conrad. Conrad and the Hilton don't have regular traditional room service. They just have that famous foods kind of, eats kind of thing.
Yeah.
For Crockford's, they have regular room service, but you can also use the eats thing if you wanted to. So that's another thing to really think of, because I know for a lot of people, they're not really into in-room dining. I can't possibly imagine why, but for those who aren't, it's really great to know that that's an option if you don't want to go downstairs and get it yourself and just have it, delivered to your room or suite and just chill. Also, it's important to note that there is another Japanese restaurant which is really, really, really good at Resorts World. I've gone there a couple of times. Have you ever been there?
Been to where exactly?
The Japanese restaurant at Resorts World Las Vegas, which
oh, is that like Kosanori or something?
The name just Kusanori.
Yeah.
Yes. And Kusanori is a very, very good restaurant, and it also has a really, really good bar service. So that's some stuff to keep in mind. But anyway, what do you think about this MrBeast thing? I don't even know what to think about it. I'm just confused about it. I'd like to know more.
I'm equally as confused.
That's all I know right now.
Yeah, I'm equally as confused as you are, man. It's explained it a little bit. I'm sure more details are on the way. Maybe a link or something. MrBeast experiences, like what 3 days of MrBeast experiences, like what is that? I don't know. We'll figure it. We'll get more info, I'm sure, as it comes in. Anyways.
Yeah, no. Absolutely. It's just I just thought we had to throw that in because it just was out there. And I do have to, someone did give me, just to give kudos to it, because I don't follow all of the feeds all of the time. But I will say I did not find out about that myself. It was Joe Cortez, which is at Joe Cortez, Cortez, and he was actually paging my Vegas friends for their thoughts on this. This was earlier today, and he tagged me on it, and I was like, yeah, wow. So thank you, Joe, because I would have totally fucking missed this. So Oh, I do want to give credit where credit is due, and Joe brought that to my attention today on the X.
All right, cool. Well, now it is time for the tease.
Okay, well, I was just in Vegas, and we're going to step through and do some commentary on that Vegas trip. Like I said, we are going to be putting together the first, might be the last, or might be one of the seldom produced vlogs of the trip that include a complete gambling breakdown of the entire trip. I mean, pretty granular, like not slot machine by slot machine while Movestra was showing me discipline, but it was pretty cool. And it was great. It was a great trip. So let's get to it. So this is my January trip, and it started with arriving at the airport. And of course, Wynn has these wonderful signs, and I got a nice SUV. I did not get a Phantom because I'm not that important. They leave that kind of thing for Josh Duffy. And then I really do feel like I'm home when I get to Wynn. I'm just so happy, being at Wynn. And a little bit out of order, but right before I got up to my lovely executive suite, you can see when you check in at Wynn, they give you a little towel to freshen up, as well as a bottle of water. So that was super duper cool. And then part of the thing that I was tweeting about a little bit were details of the room. And you're looking at this beautiful like jewelry box, which I use to put stuff in, like jewelry and players cards, and also the beautiful ashtrays at Wynn. What do you think about that? Their ashtrays are amazing, aren't they?
They have impeccable ashtrays, yes.
Impeccable ashtrays. They are, especially the cigar ashtray is really, 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 really strong. And looking at the details, like that statue, I love that statue with the sphere in the background. Isn't that awesome? Indeed. It's just Wynn details are really good. But I do feel every time I look at that statue, I feel really bad because I don't know what happened to her head. Have you pondered that at night or during the day?
I have not pondered that until now. That is a very good question. But I think the statue provides other things to focus on. So there's that.
And I was able to get into my suite right upon arrival, which was a little bit before 1 o'clock. And that's just me relaxing with the beautiful view. Nothing like just getting to Vegas and just like sitting there in the moment. They did actually have parlor suites and salon suites available for upgrade, but none of them were ready on a smoking floor. And I did not want to tempt fate because they had already blocked this wonderful executive suite, which I did the upgrade program for, and because I was on a comp room, and I just was really, really happy just to be in my suite. So I didn't want to fool around and possibly have to wait a couple hours and hang out. I wanted to just be able to relax in the moment immediately. And that's what I did. And then I set up my wonderful computer for this workcation with my new additional screen, which I know people have been doing for years, but I finally got one of these really thin additional screens, and that's wonderful. And I had my little Wynn. Somebody said that's probably a vodka. No, that was just sparkling water. Sorry to disappoint. And then the other thing, which I always have discussed with people, what's one of the first things you do when you get to Las Vegas? One of the first things I do, which is one of the benefits of Wynn Tower Suites, is I give the bellmen shirts for pressing. And you could press 4 garments per day, completely complimentary, as long as you're staying in Tower Suites. Did you know that, Movestra?
I did not know that.
And since I don't really have a need for 4 a day, I sometimes even have them press my t-shirts because it's nice to have a crisp t-shirt after a shower. Maybe. And then moving on to that first night. So I'm in Vegas. I actually went to get a shave and a manicure. I was totally relaxed. I was supposed to meet a friend for dinner. That didn't happen. And I decided to be lazy, and I just went to the buffet. And one of the cool things about the Wynn buffet is if you are staying in Tower Suites, or if you're staying, or if you have a Wynn card with status, they let you skip the line. And I absolutely skipped this gigantic line. And I went to dinner around 7 o'clock at night. And it was a wonderful dinner, but it was an absolute food coma. I'm always thinking to myself, why am I doing this to myself? Because I love food so much and there's too much to eat. And that one little food picture that we just showed you at the Wynn buffet was a interpretation of French onion soup. And that's just little interpretation of French onion soup. Did you know that's what it was, Movestro?
Yes.
Oh, okay. How do you know all of that? Anyway, it was great. I also got the all-you-can-drink wine package with the buffet. And I basically just collapsed and had a great night's sleep. I went to sleep at like 10:30 at night, woke up early in the morning, did some social, did some email, and then went to breakfast at Tableau, my absolute favorite place for breakfast in the world. And what did I start with for breakfast, Movestro?
Looks like green juice.
It was a juice flight. Yes, one of them is beet and green juice, and I love juice flights. Do you like juice? We've never talked about juice flights, have we?
I haven't done juice flights before.
Okay, and I had a wonderful bourbon syrup cappuccino, and that was great. And all I had was berries and a croissant. But Wynn has the most extraordinary flaky croissants in the world, but they are as large as they look. They are incredible croissants. They are super messy and it's beautiful. And you get your jam. So I basically had fruit, a croissant, and green juice, and it was just spectacular. And then I came back up to my suite, and of course, Wynn loves to arrange all of your toiletries and all of your items. This was on my desk. They arranged all my lighters and pens and things. And then in the bathroom, they arranged all of my stuff. And this is where I have a question for Movestro, because Scott of Vital Vegas was like no bueno on this idea. What do you think of the idea of people touching your stuff? See, I think it's really nice that they put down a mat and they arrange all of your toiletries and things, but some people think that it's really creeps them out, that housekeeping touches your stuff. Do you have it? And I never thought about that, because to me in luxury properties, they usually do arrange all your stuff at the sink. And from an OCD perspective, I love that idea. Does that bother you? I never thought that would bother people.
I have to agree with Vital on that one. Yeah, it would be weird if I came back and like my personal grooming hygiene things were touched by other people. It's like, no, that's no.
Okay, no, you know what? It's this is what's so interesting about perspectives, because it's something I think that's awesome, is very common and ubiquitous of luxury hotels, but it really does bother some people. So that's sort of interesting. And then I went to play dice, my first session of the trip, and it was quite a session. What you see there is me rolling the all tall small. You see all of those little lammers, those little ones towards the top, covering up each of the numbers, the little round discs. You basically, in order to get, you get paid out for all the small numbers, you get paid out for all the tall numbers, and then you get paid out 150 to 1 for all of those numbers. So I bet on the all tall small, I bet $5 on the small, $5 on the make 'em all, $5 on the tall, and then I bet for the dealers 2-1-2. So basically, the dealers, when that hit, they got $150 for the make 'em all, and they also got the small and the tall for $2 wagers each, which is pretty cool. But I was absolutely destroyed in that session. I started out at an empty table at Encore, and I think this was a $25 table. I started out at the empty table just rolling, and I swear I rolled approximately 7 times where I pretty much was 7 outline away, and I was the only person to blame for it. I have never started off a craps game that miserably. Then a few other people came to the game. It was back and forth. I was winning a little bit of money, but it still was going really bad. And then it went bad again. Everybody left the table. And then things weren't going well. And then I said to the dealers, joking around, if something doesn't happen, I am out of here. And then I rolled the old tall small.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And that night I went to 46's Steakhouse, and I love taking elevator lobby pictures. I don't know why. but I cleaned up a little, went to 46's, and 46's, you will see, I'm just sending my post. There's the steak tartare, started with steak tartare and oysters, as well as a wonderful martini with extra olives on the side, served in a very nice way. And I'm going to rave about the steak tartare, but I will let you rave about it as we get to the point where I made you go and have steak tartare.
All right.
So yeah, there's our steak tartare at Wynn Las Vegas. And for dinner was the really, really, really good ribeye. Oh, their spice rubby ribeye is wonderful. Really, really great. And I forgot what the vegetable was, but that was also wonderful. I'd have to look it up. It was great. And once again, I went to bed early. So that's the end of my arrival on Saturday and my day on Sunday. And just to recap, I did one crap session on Sunday, of which I lost money, but I lost a lot less than I thought. I think I lost about $100 and some odd or something. So it was actually a very nice, chill start to the trip.
All right, cool. So we're going to stop it here, and we'll continue on part 2 of this podcast with day 2 of your time in Vegas. Before we get going, is there anything on your mind? Any thoughts you want to share?
I think it was just a pretty cool organic trip. One of the things I wanted to share is like my new idea that since I love going to Wynn, and no one's going to convince me differently of it until they stop giving me casino offers. But even if they stop giving me casino offers, I think I would still love Wynn. But what I really like this idea of spending 3 nights at Wynn and then spending a night or 2 at another property, which we could talk about. And for this trip, that property happened to be Nobu. So it worked really, really well. So I really like that. So onward and upward, as they say, to, I guess my day, was that day 1, day 2, my Monday, the Monday. That's it. But that's all that's on my mind at the moment.
All right. And upward and onward to part 2 of this podcast. That's going to do it for this episode. Luxury travel booking, travelzork.travel. Visit us at travelzork.travel to plan your next amazing vacation. And be sure to reach out to us on social media. You can find us easily. All social platforms are at TravelZork. We'll see you next time.